Hi guys, welcome to the July Stamping Society tutorial where this month we are featuring our favourite new sweets from the annual catalogue, and this month I've chosen to feature this really cute one, which is a really adorable cutesy bundle. So this is this stamp set here and these dies, and look at the adorable little creatures in this one. They're really beautiful. When I saw this one, I just thought of baby cards and little kids cards for even any age really, but it also comes with this designer series paper, and you'll have to excuse me because I have been playing with this a lot, and so mine's all chopped into little pieces mainly, but I love the little mushrooms and the adorable creatures. There's some that are beautiful for scrapbooking even. There's these ones. I think some of these also coordinate maybe with the dies. I probably should have worked that out beforehand, but there's lots of cute plain patterns on the back as well. And the designer series paper is really the feature of my card today because there's very minimal stamping. It's actually all fussy cut out of the paper. So if you don't like fussy cutting, I'm so sorry, but you could also do some stamping instead with the stamp set and die cut them out with the dies. They'd just be a little bit larger unless you wanted to use the owls and the little mushrooms, which I have done on here a little bit as well. And I've combined this card with these fun dies here. So these are the picture this dies, and I wanted to use this circle one to make a little bit of a frame. So it's 3D, so if you can see there on the side they pop up a little bit. So I'll get started and I'll talk through the supplies. Don't forget that you can actually purchase, I'm going to show you how to make this today, but you can actually purchase the written tutorial with all 6 tutorials from the Stamping Society team, and that will have all the measurements for both imperial and metric and all the written instructions. So I won't talk measurements today because they're in the PDF tutorial, which you can either purchase from my tutorial store, which is linked below, or you can earn it for free by joining my team. You get my tutorials free every month, or you can make a purchase through my store if you live in Australia, and you'll get this as a gift. So let's get started. What I have done to save time on this video is I have actually gone and fussy cut out a heap of images from my designer series paper. So full disclosure, I actually love fussy cutting. I find it relaxing. Some people don't. But I sat here and just fussy cut out quite a few. I don't know if I'll use them all, but the ones I've chosen is out of this paper here. So a bit of the greenery, and then out of this design here, I've fussy cut some of the creatures and some of the little mushrooms and flowers. So they're the 2 pieces that I have used. And then I've just got a little strip of DSP to use on the inside of my card, a scrap of crumb cake for my sentiment, and then I've got my card base from crumb cake and a layer of crumb cake and basic white for my inside, and 2 layers of crumb cake for my outside. So they're the pieces that I'm going to use. Now I'm going to get started by pulling in my smaller layer of crumb cake for my outside, because this is where I'm going to create my little circular frame. So I want to pull out my picture this dies, and I'm going to use this one here. This one would also make a really cute card as well. And then I'm going to just pop that on my card front. I want to cut it out like this, but make sure you keep the circular insides because we're going to use those too. So I'm just going to pop this through my die cut machine, which I keep to the side because I don't want to crowd up too much of the space on my desk. So I've got that all cut out. I'm just going to punch out those little circles there. Now the next bit I want to do to add a little bit more definition, I'm actually going to add some crumb cake ink onto my crumb cake with a blending brush. So I'm just going to pull in my ink and a blending brush, and I'm just going to add some ink to my brush and add a little bit to the outside of my frame. And I think I need a new crumb cake ink pad, but I'll make this work. Our ink pads do need replacing every few years, and this one's seen its day. So I'm just going to go and add, it doesn't look like much, but when I add it to the other piece, you'll see the definition that that's adding. And then I'm just going to lightly go around each circle just to add a little bit more. And it really picks up on that stitching. So I think that's enough. I'll close up my ink pad. And then that one is ready to stick. And as you can see, that really picks up on that blending once you stick that on like that. Now this next bit, what I found easiest, because I'm actually going to pop this one up on 3D foam, is just to sit that exactly where I want it. And then I'm going to grab some washi tape. Just got to find the end, because I don't want to adhere this down yet. So I want to position that exactly where I'm going to have it, and I'm just going to use a little bit of tape to stick that down. And then I actually want to stick all of my circles in just using some glue. So I'm just going to take my glue and position all of those circles back into the frame. I love these picture this dies, they're so much fun. Oops. Two more. Easy. Okay, so then I can pull off, whoops, pull off my washi tape. Just catch that a little bit, so I'm just going to run over my brush just to disguise that a little bit. Okay, so now what I want to do is actually pull this off and add some dimensionals, because I'm going to stick this up on a little bit of dimension. So I'm just going to add just a few of these. Now I don't want it to sag, so I'm going to make sure I add a couple towards the middle. Oops. Oh, I'm pulling the backings but not the dimensional off. See? Okay, so that should be enough. I do quite like using dimensionals sometimes, as you can see. Okay. And then I'm just going to position this right back over, and you'll be able to tell just where it goes by lining it up with those circles. It's funny, I can do things better off camera. Okay. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And now I can actually go ahead and stick this down to my card base, because I don't need to do anything else around that. And I'm just going to do a bit of double dimension here and add some dimensionals onto this layer as well. So I'll just peel these ones off. And this one can get stuck to my card base like that. Okay, so that's that all prepped, and then what I want to do is go ahead and start adding my little pieces here. So with the little bear, I actually cut his bottom off because I found that was easier to get him to stick. So what I'm going to do is just start layering my pieces. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that one and just poke him in, because I know that I want him there. And I'm going to, just for the sake of the video, like I could change this up, but I'll find it easier just to replicate what I've done here, just so I'm not reinventing the wheel on a video. So I'm just going to add some little mushrooms in this bottom one here, and then I stuck my little owl over on this one. Now, because I'm working quickly, I can actually pull things up and tuck underneath, because I'm going quickly so that the glue doesn't dry. So I'm just going to tuck in some little pieces there, and then I might add this little one. Sometimes you do have to chop a little bit just to make it fit. So as you can see, because I'm working in it sort of quickly, I can move them around a little bit. So I want to add another little floral piece there. I did actually stamp a couple of bigger mushrooms. I forgot to mention that. So I have stamped these bigger mushrooms, and they have a coordinating die from the Happy Forest dies. So I did cut out 2 of those from my die set as well. So I'm going to tuck in another little mushroom. And then the fox is probably my favourite in the stamp set and the dies. I love it. So I've got my adorable little fox, and I'm going to add a little piece of foliage up there and stick my little fox in. And then I have, I don't know if I cut out 2 little birds, to be honest. I've got a little bird up here. I'm sorry, I'm a bit stiffly today because I've just had COVID and just getting over the side effects of that one. Wasn't too nice. I do feel for anyone that's had it. I'm just going to stick that one in there. Any of the designer series paper that's ever been released that has fussy cutting opportunities, I have definitely gone to town. I love fussy cutting. Okay, so instead I'm just going to add a little flower up here, I think. So I think I did not cut 2 little birdies. I'm just going to add a couple of flowers instead, just up there. So that's as simple as it is. You can sit there in front of the TV and do a heap of fussy cutting and get all these pieces ready. It's pretty simple. Now this suite comes with some ribbon. It's actually got 2 types of ribbon. I think one's in a Sahara sand colour and one's in this beautiful green. So I'm going to tie a bow for my card in the green. So this one's a little bit thinner. The other one's a little bit of a thicker ribbon. So I'm just going to play around with my bow until I'm happy. I think that's pretty good. I'm just going to cut the tails on that one. I can cut them down a bit more if I need. I think this one can be a little bit shorter. And that one's just going to go in there like that. So I'm going to add that with a glue dot and just stick that on there like that. Now I can bring in my little scrap of crumb cake, and I'm going to use the little sentiment that says hello baby, and I'm going to stamp that in some early espresso ink. So I've got that one already mounted on a little cis block, G block. And I might actually be able to do that on the thinner end. And I'm just going to bring in my little guillotine, which we don't have these to sell, but I just use mine tons. It was a joining opportunity quite a while ago, and I use mine all the time. I wish they sold it. Okay, so I've got my little sentiment, and I'm just going to trim the ends of that one. And I'm going to add that onto my card with some Stampin' Dimensionals as well. I'm just going to get the little edging pieces, which are so handy for things like this. And I'm just going to add that to the edge of my card like that. Now to decorate the outside, I have actually spritzed my card with some Wink of Stella, so I've added some sparkle. So I'll go back and do that to this one. And then to embellish, I'm going to use these trusty old favourites, which are the basic rhinestones. These are great essentials. You can colour them with Stampin' Blends, so you can change up the colour, but they're really a great basic embellishment that goes with most things. So I'm just going to add them throughout the little circles that I've done on the card. So I'm just adding a few to each of the circles like that. So that's the outside of the card done. Pretty simple, but really fun and whimsical for a baby card. So I love that. Now let's decorate the inside of the card. So once again, I've kept this pretty simple. I've taken my piece of basic white, and there should be enough colour left on this brush just to add a little bit of brown to the bottom right hand corner. So I'm just adding a little bit of brown there. Now I'm going to pop my little bit of designer series paper down there, but I want to, as you can see on this one, add some little fun elements first before I stick that down. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to my fox and sit him down there, and then I'm going to add some little bits of foliage. So I'm just using that little bit of designer series paper as an indicator for where I'm going to stick things. So I've got a little mushroom, and then I might add to this one this little bit of foliage. Will I stick him there? Oh, that might stick him on this side. And then I can adhere down my little bit of designer series paper, and then trim that overhang like that. And then I want to stamp the sentiment that says welcome. So I thought that went along really well with a baby card. So I'm just going to stamp that one down there. And then I'm going to adhere this whole piece on the other larger layer of crumb cake. So just add a little bit of glue and adhere that down. I love double matting things. So if you've seen my work before, you'll know that I tend to double mat everything. I love the finished look that it gives. And then I can add this one into the center of my card. And that's the center of it. So really, really fun. I love how these cards turned out with that fun die, with a combination of that designer series paper and a few bits from that suite. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing this card today, and we will see you guys all back in August. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the other videos if you want the written tutorial PDF with all the videos from this month and written instructions. Then see the link below. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.